Hey, yo, whoa, we are back. We are back, people, with another episode. Another episode of Ski's Opinion, with your gracious, your humble host. That is Ski. So, this is the show about nothing and everything and nothing at all. So, let's get to the show, people. I know everybody's been locked in on the Durk trial. The Durk trial. So, took a little time to actually give my interpretation of what I see going on in the Durk trial. So, what I do see going on in the Durk trial is a lot of the same as far as actually letting the case play out as far as the court of public opinion, I'll say, right? So in the court of public opinion, brothers cooked. But I know it has to play out. Trial has to play out. You're hearing some things that doesn't look very promising for the brother, But I think people are negating the things that do look good for the brother, right? So I think that people are mentioning all of the negatives. I don't think nobody's talking about the positives or the wins, right? Person I've been kind of paying attention to because he's been the most consistent, I would say, as far as covering this trial, and that would be TrapLoreRoss, right? TrapLoreRoss is giving his opinion and being very opinionated on how he's sorry about that, people. But he's being very opinionated and giving his opinion on what he thinks things are, how the trial is going. Which is neither here nor there, you guys, right? I'm not going to say that he's wrong, for giving his opinion. That's how he feels, right? Doesn't make him right, doesn't make him wrong either, But he's entitled to do that. But some people feel he's biased. Not even just him. I mean, I can even go into, academics being brought up and, the way that he's wording things or the way that he's, the way that he's, how could I put it? The way that he's putting up his clips and how he's naming them, Durk told on such and such. So, right, the snitch thing been getting thrown around, right? As far as on Durk. Now, Durk haven't actually sat there and said anything, to be honest. It was his defense is saying that, right? They're throwing everything on Bonnie, on Bonnie. Durk's not saying anything, to be honest. So what I look at is it's a lot of biased people. It's a lot of people who've been like waiting and ready to give their take on this brother's character and who he is or whatever, right? So now they have the time or the chance to do this while this trial going on. But like I said, I think a lot of people is being biased, and I think they're not reporting the case truly from a point of view of looking at what's going on. Like I said, it's some things that look very unflattering for the brother, but it's also some things that look good. So here I want to try to base my opinion, right, on from objective of unbiased. Like I'll have a dog in this fight or anything, you guys, but I'm paying attention to what's going on, and I'm not at the trial. I'm not in California, as we all know. See, I'm sitting here in the studio recording this video now, so I'm not there. I'm in my home state. So I'm doing it through news clippings, public records what I'm reading through and I'm hearing about. So today I'm gonna do something that I haven't done in a while, and that's gonna be clips. The clips I'm gonna use today is gonna be from TrapLoreRoss. Shout out to TrapLoreRoss. Like I said, he's the one I've been following a little bit more than anyone else as far as who's covering it, because he's been the most consistent, you know, even with some of his biased views. I'm gonna say he's probably given the most thorough, you know, updates and reporting, you know, on this case. So I'm gonna use his clips. A couple of clips today. I'm gonna show you guys from TrapLoreRoss' show, where he gives the breakdown on where the trial is right now. So that's why I said I'm not late to the party, but this is my time to jump in. But I'm gonna go for where we at now, because I'm not gonna go into what I think about what's been going on, because everybody already heard it. So I'm gonna go from day 4 on forward. So I'm gonna go to a clip of TrapLoreRoss giving his take on what he saw in court between the prosecutor and Brian Steele, Durk's defense attorney. So we're gonna shoot to this clip, and I'm gonna come back around and give you guys my opinion on what I think is going on based off what TrapLoreRoss saw in court. So be right back.
I believe there was like a hurricane spinning emoji and then the word risky with a bunch of Ys. This was sent to a group chat that had TTE Wicked Man, who replied, TTE being threats to everybody. It's another crew that's associated with Durk. Oopsie, you're not allowed to talk about gangs. Showed that with laughing emojis, right? So TTE Wicked Man responded with laughing emojis. It was sent to Breezo. It was sent to Lil Varney from OTF. Didi added his own comment after he shared this post saying he playing crazy. Varney said, yeah, acting bad. And Durk scratched his head and just stared down while all of this was going on. Boona, right? His Instagram account was at Boona Dthang Brother. He said, on bro, with a mind blown emoji. And Durk just looked down while this was going on. And then basically Booney Mo was brought up. They showed a picture of Booney Mo with Jam and Durk and Didi all together. They're in the group chat. It was pretty bad. It was more just like, bro, this is looking bad. The judge basically, we took a little break. And during the break, Durk kind of had to switch up his demeanor, just like he kind of, I ain't gonna lie, he'd be putting on a fake smile when he wants to try to kind of like look good. You know, we saw the hearings, like whenever he was brought in, he was like just smiling, laughing with his lawyers, trying to put on a good face. But it was like he's seeing all of this evidence and he was looking shook, he was looking upset, he was looking like stressed out. And then when they had the break and they let him stand up, he was kind of like switched on. He was like, yeah, like smiling, joking with his lady lawyer.
Okay, so you see where TrapLoreRoss is looking at what he thinks is going on, his interpretation of the case so far. So that was kind of like from the viewpoint of the prosecution doing their cross-examination of the detective. And they're going through pictures and text messages. Like I said, some of these things do not look good for the brother. I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat act like, oh, that don't mean anything, because it does. I mean, I say both of these teams are fighting, and this is a pretty, even matchup, I would say, because I don't think no one actually has. I don't think that either one doesn't have actual like edge or whatever on the other. So I would say that as far as that's what I could say, right? But so the prosecution is making good points. You know, you got these guys text messages. Everybody has something to say about something. But what I do see within that is that the things that they're saying is not saying he's saying it, right? The thing that's being said is not saying that Durk was in that text chain or in the thread of the post that Didi supposedly reposted, and then put comments, and the rest of them put comments, Booney Mo saying something, and Bonnie and everybody else, you don't have Durk in that thread, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, so to me, it kind of gives a little bit more validity to this brother that wasn't involved in that. Because if you got him in threads or texts about everything and other things that don't actually really directly have him pinpointed towards the murder, then why you don't have him in the thread with them talking about the murder? Or replying to somebody posting something, and he reposted it about the murder, and the video of the boy screaming or whatever outside the car. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to even look into it that way. Like, if I'm Durk's attorney, then I'm digging into that now, right? Okay, you're gonna bring that up. My counter is, okay, well, where's my claim? Where's Durk? That's in these texts or in these posts, DM and back forth, make a comment. Where's his comment? If he's so privy to everything that's going on, and I'm gonna get to that next, but Brian's still gonna go into his part. So my next clip I'm showing is TrapLoreRoss explaining Brian Steele's cross-examination prosecution with the detective. So we're gonna go check this clip out, and then I'm gonna see you on the other side of it, and we're gonna talk about it, people. We're gonna talk about it.
Testimony had stopped. But anyway, Brian Steele got on cross-examination, and at this point, all right, this was probably the finest hour that we've seen from Brian Steele so far. That's not to say that he's not going to do a great job going forward. I am very hopeful that he is going to kill it going forward. But he cross-examined that lead detective, and I don't want to say he smoked him, but he really did make him look bad. He put some belt to ass, all right? Brian Steele said, I'm just going to do my Brian Steele voice. Said, you became a lead detective on this case on August the 30th, yes? Yes. As lead detective, you oversee all evidence, and then it gets moved to a task force. He said, yes, this was initially a state case. It became a Fed case. He said, you work with prosecutors, Fed, state law enforcement, FBI, crime lab people. He said, yes. You speak with a lot of people. Yes. They said you spoke to cooperators, including Jam. He said, yep. Were you present when Jam was interviewed 12 different times? And this is where the detective starts sweating a little bit, all right? Metaphorically speaking. Is at times the guy went, ugh.
So, people, now it's Brian Steele's turn. So, you see Brian Steele, he comes in, he's asking questions, he's asking him about his background. Got to pay attention to the skill right here, you guys. You get to ask the questions that's leading up to, this is nothing special. This is nothing that no other attorney does, right? But look at the way that he's lining up this detective, right? This is a detective, you guys. This is somebody who goes to court. This is not like the regular civilian or person that's just coming in who doesn't go to court all the time, right? That you could frazzle very easily or trip up and, be able to do this. This is a person that goes to court all the time. This is a person that was prepped thoroughly by the prosecution before they got on the stand. So what I'm saying is, if you pay attention to that, he's coming in with why, where, what, to get the man to saying things to get to what he's trying to get to. Like I said, it's nothing special what he's doing, but pay attention to how he's doing it and pay attention to how he trips up this detective. And it goes all the way into where the clip stops. So we're gonna jump right back here, you guys. I want y'all to pay attention to this next clip. This next clip is of Brian Steele continuing to unravel and pick apart this detective's testimony, which is an expert testimony, you guys. So pay attention to this, and don't be swayed by the things like TrapLoreRoss saying. TrapLoreRoss said Durk is putting it on, this and that. Everybody's putting it on in the courtroom. The judge, the attorneys, the prosecutor, everybody's putting it on. All the witnesses, they have to. This is a show. This is a stage, right? He's on, and they're fighting for his life. So him smiling or him looking down and grimacing and this and that doesn't mean or show anything. But he hearing something he probably don't want to hear. He's making movements. That ain't showing that. And then from what TrapLoreRoss is saying, it might not even look like that from your eyes or the juror eyes, but him speaking that, if the jurors are listening to what's going on out here, which I would say it's kind of hard not to, but if they do take all of their phones and everything or their electronic, it sounds like these guys going home though, because I think one juror had to be substituted. He won't be coming back because he was in an accident. So they're privy to what's going on, you guys, right? Outside of this. So him saying that, you putting bias in these people's minds, like, well, he's cooked, it looks fake to me, that sounds like, oh, why did I hire these guys? You see, that's why I said he's giving his opinion, he's reporting on it, but he's giving his biased opinion in there, you got it. But like I said, let's get back into this clip with Brian Steele cross-examining, well, actually, I'm going to say taking apart this detective.
Enforcement said, right? It's a summary. It's a written summary. It's not a recording. The guy was like, yes. And then he said, Keith Jones, you were present for 5 of his interviews. Yes? Yes. He said, only 1 time was recorded. The guy said, possibly. He said, on October 24th, that was after his arrest. Yeah? And they said, yeah. They said, nothing prevented you from recording this, did it? They said, yep. Who decided to not record it? Brian Steele said. They said it was the U.S. Attorney's Office preference. And then they said, Vonnie, he was interviewed in your presence 10 times. Never recorded when you were there. Detective said, yep. He didn't throw his hand up, but he said, yep. And they said, Brian Steele said, do you know why not meeting?
So, people, like I said, Mr. Steele is going in, right? He said, Jim, in the last clip, he said, the clip before the last, right? He says, Jim been interviewed over 30 times. The guy act like he didn't know. You are the detective, right? You're the lead detective at that. He tried to act like he didn't know or he can't recall, but he was there to see Jim 10 times. He was there present when they saw the other guy 5 times. He was there, I think, 3 times when he talked with Vonnie. So, but none of these times that they did interviews with these guys, they weren't recorded. And I guess 3 times it was recorded with Jim, but y'all met with this guy over 30 times. So you mean to tell me that you only felt the need to record 3 conversations with him? So what was the other 30 about, right? And like Steele's basically putting out there, I mean, the recording would be the best evidence. So like I said, you guys, he's picking them apart. He's putting doubt into the jury's mind that the prosecutor is doing something slick by not recording. Why wouldn't you? This is the evidence that you need to actually convict this man. Why wouldn't you record this and have this video so that you may even go back to and point to while you're arguing your points? Unless it's parts in that video that you was coercing or coercing the witnesses into saying certain things or promising the witness certain things if they say certain things, right? Which shows a lack of evidence on their part as far as what they need to get the person that they're trying to get. It shows bias. It shows that they only really want the big fish. So I'm willing to actually get a person who participated and not just participated, but helped plan, help plan, help pay for tickets, buying actual things to disguise these guys while they're committing the crime, right? I'm gonna give you a deal, and I'm gonna give a deal to the guy who's saying, I was there, I was shooting him. I'm gonna do that if y'all could give us this person, right? Because this person is going to look great. It's going to be sensationalized if we convict this person more so than if we just convict you guys. So if y'all been paying attention, they was talking about how when they first filed the complaint or the subpoena, the charges against those guys, Durk wasn't in it. Vonnie was the lead dude. He was the scapegoat. And when they came to him and he said, "Oh yeah, okay, I did this, I did that, but Durk told me to do it," right? And who's to say that Durk told him to do that? Do they have Durk saying that he told him to do that? And then we're gonna go into the snitching allegation, you guys. I gotta mention that a little bit because it's a big thing that's out there and everybody's speaking on it. Now, as far as, like I said, he never said anything. You know, when I started this video, he did say his team is saying it, right? So if he's not actually saying Bonnie did everything, I didn't, that the defense is saying that, right? But also, how is it snitching when the person who he's supposed to be snitching on, y'all trying to say, God? That's why I said a lot of this stuff is a joke, you know, as far as the street ish and people try. And then you got a lot of people who knows nothing about the street, like I'm saying with TrapLoreRoss. You're not from there, so, and then you're throwing the tag on this man and in that way, and it's incorrect. If you ask me, guys, right? It's just incorrect. It's not right. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. I don't know what else to say, you know, but it's not for him to say that. And it's not correct. Like I said, Durk is not snitching on Kavani Grant, right? Kavani Grant, that's his name. But he's not snitching on him. You know, the defense pointed the finger at him, but he admitted to it. But his admission saying, okay, yeah, I done it, but he told me to. And Bonnie ain't got no money, but where is the payment? Y'all saying that a person gonna get on the video and they're gonna go kill somebody to be put on the video? No monetary gain, nothing that's gonna help them, but we just go kill. And then now so they're trying to throw the gang thing in there, which will put it into where they have to do it because they're all a part of the same gang. But this is not a gang trial; it's a murder for hire trial, like the judge said from the beginning. So I'm gonna go back into this next clip, and this TrapLoreRoss explaining more. This may be my last clip, I think, of this, of how Brian Steele dismantled, like I said, the lead detective on the case, you got. And he's working with the feds. The feds took his information from his investigation to fight their case, right? And this is what we have. So here's clip, the last part of Brian Steele. TrapLoreRoss explaining how Brian Steele is surgically dismantling this expert witness's testimony. So you hear TrapLoreRoss, right? So we heard when he started how he said how bad, you know, Durk looking and grimacing and this and that. And then as we get down to the end of this and to the part where the defense get their turn, right, to cross-examine. And he's saying that Brian Steele has done some of his best work, not to say that he won't be doing more, but this is the first time I think actually Brian Steele was speaking in court was, you know, on the 4th. So I don't know what he's talking about. Like, as far as that, like, what, some of his best work, like, they just started, you got. So that's what I'm saying about, like, how everybody have a interpretation of what's going on, like, as this been going on. It's day 4, right? This just started. We have to let this play out, you guys. Like I said, it's points that the prosecution is making, it's points that Mr. Steele is making. As we seen in his last clip, he broke down how these witnesses that's coming to the stand, you guys. It's very important for you guys to understand that this is what the jurors are sitting there listening to. That they have incentives to lie. They have incentives to corroborate. They have incentives to fabricate things, maybe even put innocent people into jail, right? So that's what, TrapLoreRoss is saying, Brand Steele is saying. So if you look at it from that point of view, then if I'm the juror or if I'm a person that's on the jury, I'm looking at it like, well, I can't 100% believe what this man is saying when he's getting a deal for saying it. Yes, he's admitting to doing the murder, and yeah, why wouldn't tell? But how do you justify a person doing this when they're getting a deal? How could you say he's doing this to do it for the right thing and to put down dirt because it's the right thing to do, right? How is that possible, right? When you offer him something to do it. So that's my point, and that's the doubt that he's putting in the juror's mind, right? That's the dilemma that the prosecution has to come against, right? Now, when they bring these guys to the stand, you got a skeptical jury pool, right? They are skeptical about what they're gonna say and how they're gonna say it. Now, the way that they perform when they get on the stand, you guys, is gonna mean a lot, right? And it has to make sense to a point to where the jurors is going to believe that what they're saying is true and is factual, regardless of the deal that they're getting, right? So, like I said, even with him putting that doubt in there, but that's what a good attorney's supposed to do. He's putting doubt in their mind about what these guys are coming to say before they even get a chance to get a word out their mouth, right? So they're already skeptical. They have a fight, right? Because now they have to win the jury over. He put an obstacle in their way to now you have to make these people believe you because now they already have a doubt in their mind about it. You're involved in this murder. You're here testifying so you're not charged with these defendants. You found a scapegoat within this person because he's the one that they really want and they feel like is the real mastermind behind it. And I'm not saying that it's not this way, right? But what I'm saying is you have to prove that. You have to have some type of paperwork, some type of recording, some type of transaction as far as bank transaction, what they're saying, because you had cash and $1 million of a gain, you had the million and all that. He paid them that way, and because what's the name said we went up there, and yeah, you saw him on. You know how many people come to Lil Durk's video shoots when they're in Chicago or performances, interviews, things that he got going on, right? If those guys are affiliated with some people who are affiliated with him who know that it's happening, they're gonna pop up, right? Everybody will, you guys, because you're trying to get seen, especially if you're aspiring to be a musician or something like that. You want to get around dirt. It's just what it is. So that's not saying that they went out there to go get, because you got them on the phone saying this, and then why wouldn't they say that? Again, they're admitting to the murder. They did this murder. But you have nothing. You have no transaction. You have nothing with me saying, I'm going to give you this. I gave you this. Where's the paper trail? That's what I'm saying. Like, of the money I get, other than you flashing money. Come on, man. There was so many PPP loan schemes and all that type of stuff that was going on there that you can justify this kid having a bankroll, or he just out there hustling. It happens, you guys. It just happens. So what I'm saying is my ended piece on this is that let's let this play out in court, you guys. And I shall be back this week with another update on the trial. Probably Friday. With a new episode giving y'all my rundown of where I think the trial is at and where I think it's headed. Right now, I kind of see this at neck and neck. They're kind of going tick for tat right now. Now we have to figure out who's going to take off, right? Who's going to go, who's going to, take off and move ahead in this race. So that's the show that I have for today, you guys. Ski's opinion. It's been another one. Catch you guys on the flip side. I appreciate all of y'all tuning in with me. Everybody who does, I want to ask you guys to like, subscribe, follow, tell a friend to tell a friend. Come watch Ski's opinion, right? Your gracious, your humble host. Who that is? Ski. Peace, people. I'm out.